On November 2012, a stewardess on a luxury Caribbean cruise discovers a sinister secret behind a persistently closed cabin door. What begins as a subtle intuition quickly escalates into a chilling confrontation with a powerful cover-up, exposing the dark underbelly of corporate greed. She became an accidental witness to a crime that the world desperately wanted to forget. This is the story of Elena Petrova and Cabin 814. My name is Elena Petrova. I am giving this testimony on November 15th, 2024. It concerns events from November 2012. Back then, I worked as a stewardess for Royal Atlantic Cruises. We were on a Caribbean cruise, a routine route. Warm sun, endless blue water, people expecting luxury. A passenger, Mr. Davies, occupied cabin 814. He was a quiet man. I'd barely noticed him before then. He kept to himself. No special requests, just another face in a sea of vacationers. Early in the cruise, Mr. Davies placed a "Do Not Disturb" sign on his door. This was not unusual for a day. But then 24 hours passed. The sign remained. No requests for cabin service, no sign of him leaving. Another 24 hours went by. Still no change. Cabin 814 remained sealed by that small plastic sign. My professional instincts began to flag. It was unusual. A full 48 hours with no interaction. I reported my concerns. I spoke to my supervisor about the lack of activity in cabin 814. My worries were dismissed. "Elena, you're being overly zealous," I remember her saying. "Some guests just want privacy." I felt a familiar dull ache behind my eyes. It was the feeling of being unheard, of routine overriding instinct. That second night, the "Do Not Disturb" sign still clung to the door. The ship hummed with its usual late-night rhythm. I was making my rounds passing cabin 814. The corridor lights cast long, soft shadows. Then I heard it, a faint sound from inside the cabin, a rhythmic scratching. It was unsettling, like something being dragged or scraped against a hard surface. The sound was low, almost swallowed by the ship's vibrations. I paused, tilting my head. It was not a continuous noise, more like a series of short, deliberate scrapes. Pause. Then another series. I couldn't quite place it. My mind tried to rationalize it. A hanger against a closet door, perhaps, but the rhythm was too steady, too insistent. It left a strange, metallic taste in my mouth. I stood there for a few minutes listening. The scratching continued, a low, persistent echo in the quiet hall. A shiver traced a line down my spine. Not from cold, but from something else. A knowing. I moved on, but the sound stayed with me, a small, irritating burr in my consciousness. On day 3, a deep sense of unease had solidified. It was no longer just a feeling. It was a conviction. Something was profoundly wrong in cabin 814. My supervisor's dismissals now felt like active ignorance. I could still hear that faint, rhythmic scratching in my memory. It had become a persistent hum. I knew I shouldn't. I knew the rules about guest privacy, the warnings, but I couldn't ignore it anymore. My stomach felt hollow, a cold, empty space. My palms were damp. I made the conscious choice. This was not about protocol anymore. It was about something far more basic. I retrieved my master key. The small, cold piece of plastic felt heavy in my hand. I approached cabin 814. The "Do Not Disturb" sign seemed to mock me. I slid the key card into the slot. The lock clicked with a soft, mechanical sigh. My breath hitched. I pushed the door open slowly, a sliver of darkness appearing. The cabin appeared tidy, almost sterile. The bed was made. Clothes hung neatly in the closet. But an immediate pungent smell hit me. Industrial-strength bleach. It was overpowering. The chemical odor stung my nostrils, making my eyes water. It felt too clean, suspiciously so. And then I saw it. The bathroom door was closed and locked from the inside. My throat tightened. The air felt thick, heavy with the bleach fumes. A frantic, fluttering beat started, not in my chest, but somehow in my ears. A low hum. I backed out of the cabin, pulling the door shut behind me. The click of the lock felt final. I immediately reported what I found. The strong bleach smell, the locked bathroom door. My voice was tight, thin. I tried to describe my escalating concerns, the certainty that something was truly amiss. My supervisor listened, her expression unreadable. This time there was no dismissal. Within minutes, the head of ship security, Mr. Reynolds, was there. He was a tall man, impeccably dressed. His eyes were cold, like polished stones. He listened to my account without interruption. He then coldly informed me that Mr. Davies had a medical emergency. He stated that Mr. Davies had been discreetly disembarked in Jamaica the previous night. His voice was even, devoid of inflection. It was a practiced calm. He then looked directly at me. His gaze felt like a physical weight. He explicitly warned me about the severe penalties for spreading unfounded rumors. He emphasized the gravity of violating passenger privacy. His words were a clear threat. My mouth felt dry. I opened my mouth, but only a useless puff of air came out. Despite the official explanation, my gut screamed that it was a lie. A carefully constructed one. The timeline didn't fit. The bleach, the locked bathroom, the scratching. I tried to subtly inquire with other crew members. A steward I knew, a cleaner. I asked if they'd seen Mr. Davies leave or anything unusual. I was met with blank stares, quick changes of subject, nervous silence. No one had seen him, no one had heard anything. It was like he'd simply vanished. Or, more accurately, like everyone had been told to forget him. That same day, I was reassigned to a different deck. It was a subtle punishment, a warning. I finished that cruise in a fog. The memory of the bleach, the locked door, the scratching. It all formed a knot of dread in my stomach, a silent, festering wound. I carried that memory for years after leaving Royal Atlantic cruises. The smell of bleach would sometimes surface, unbidden in my mind. It would make my throat constrict. The image of that locked bathroom door in cabin 814 haunted me. It was a persistent shadow. I left the cruise industry a year later. The glamour had worn off, replaced by a lingering unease. I tried to forget, to push it down. But some things refused to be buried. Years later, I was watching television, an episode of Unsolved Mysteries. A photograph flashed across the screen during the segment. It was Mr. Davies. My breath caught. The air left my lungs in a sharp gasp. It was undeniably him. The segment described him as a key witness against a powerful cartel. He had mysteriously disappeared in November 2012. The exact time, the exact location, Caribbean waters, a cruise ship. Every detail clicked into place with horrifying clarity. Mr. Davies wasn't disembarked. He was murdered in that cabin. The rhythmic scratching I heard on the second night. It wasn't a hanger. It was him, dying, trying to escape, trying to signal for help. From behind that locked bathroom door. A wave of nausea washed over me. My vision blurred for a moment. I had been so close, so agonizingly close to the truth, and I had been silenced. The cruise line, including the head of security, Mr. Reynolds, had actively participated in a cynical, calculated cover-up. They protected their corporate image, their profits, over a human life. They erased the truth to maintain their luxury experience. It was a cold, efficient operation. The banality of it was the true horror. No grand villains, just a system prioritizing money over everything. I tried to report my story to various authorities, to the police, to the FBI. I even contacted a few journalists, people who specialized in true crime. But I was met with skepticism, bureaucratic stonewalling. Call after call went unanswered. There were even veiled threats, anonymous emails, hang-up calls. The forces that covered up Mr. Davies' murder were still powerful. They extended their reach to silence me. I learned that the hard way. The system wasn't interested in justice for Mr. Davies. It was interested in maintaining order. The chilling realization became my inescapable truth. Justice would never be served through official channels. Not for Mr. Davies, not through the proper expected avenues. My only recourse is to tell my story now, to live with the knowledge of what happened in Cabin 814, to hope that one day the truth can finally be heard, even if it cannot right the wrong. It is a small, quiet hope, but it is all I have left.